Hello and good morning. This is Venkatesh Iyer. Welcome to the business breakfast from Iyer's classroom. Today is Wednesday, 24th of September 2023. Let's quickly look at the top 10 business news from five different dailies. Two news from each of the dailies. First, we will start with Economic Times. India will receive heavy monsoon rains in September, says weather chief. India is expected to receive heavy monsoon rains in September, providing relief to farmers after dry August. The monsoon, which is crucial for India's economy, has been below average since June but is now picking up the pace. The Director General of the India Meteorological Department stated that the monsoon is likely to be normal or above normal in September, benefiting crops such as rice, corn, cotton, soybean, sugarcane, and peanuts. The monsoon is also expected to be delayed in its retreat, with current weather condition indicating no signs of withdrawal. Moving ahead, the Twitter, which has been changed to the new brand name X, there's a news with respect to that. X will soon charge its users a small monthly payment, says Elon Musk. Elon Musk had suggested that his social media platform X may no longer be free in order to combat the issue of bots. Musk proposed a small monthly payment from all users as a way to address the problem, stating that the cost of bots is high even if they only pay a few dollars. Bots are accounts run by bots, are programs or algorithms rather than humans, and are prevalent on the platform where they are used to artificially amplify messages that have a negative impact on its users. So, moving to Financial Express, rising tax targets, budget estimates of tax revenue are on track but modest. The latest set of data on direct tax collections indicate that tax receipts at the aggregate level are moving along the lines of the budget estimates for the current fiscal year. The personal income tax collections have grown at an impressive pace of 36% till date, much higher than the budgeted rate of 11.4%, while the tax on corporate income, the single largest source of revenue for the center, is yielding as much as budgeted after an initial hiccup, and the gross goods and services tax mop-up has hovered around 1.6 trillion per month till August, a level significantly higher than assumed in the budget. Excise collections, primarily from auto fuels, are lagging the budget target, but the proceeds from windfall taxes on crude oil and export of petroleum products may partly make up for that. Promoting financial inclusion, digital literacy and inclusion is now fundamental for financial and social inclusion. This is from Financial Express. Leaders from G20 nations met in New Delhi early September as part of the G20 summit and pledged to promote an essential and fundamental need for humanity today, social and financial inclusion. The G20 declaration is a reminder that no one should be left behind in the pursuit of a more prosperous world, and resonates with India's philosophy of Antyodaya, or the upliftment of everyone, especially the poorest and the marginalized. The fourth G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion meeting followed this in Mumbai a week later, and member nations agreed to work towards universal financial inclusion under the G20 Financial Inclusion Action Plan. The GPFI report prepared by the World Bank states that India's digital public infrastructure and JAM, the Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, and Mobile Trinity, have contributed to a drastic increase in financial inclusion from 25% in 2008 to over 80% in the last 6 years. Going to the Mint, global markets update. US stocks dip as investors brace for Fed interest rate decision. US stocks dipped on Tuesday as investors are bracing for Federal Reserve's monetary policy decision to be announced on Wednesday. US stocks dipped on Tuesday as investors were expecting some news from the Fed Reserve regarding the interest rate. S&P 500 lost 9.84 points, or 0.22%, at 4443.69 points. The Nasdaq Composite fell 32.05 points, or 0.23%, at 13677.80. The Dow Industrial Average dropped 106.46 points, or 0.31%, at 34517.84. Moving ahead again for the Mint, Elon Musk's company Neuralink gets permission to implant brain chips in humans as part of clinical trial. The Neuralink, a brain chip startup founded by billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, has obtained permission to kick off its first human trial. The focus of the clinical study will be on patients suffering from paralysis caused by cervical spinal cord injuries or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. The announcement came on September 19, although the specific number of participants remains undisclosed. Initially, Neuralink aimed to receive approval for 10 participants, but after safety concerns were raised by the US Food and Drug Administration, the company found itself negotiating for a smaller participant pool. Moving to business line, the finance minister asked banking secretary to submit a report on banks' dispersal of KCC loans. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday asked Department of Financial Services Secretary Vivek Joshi to submit a report in a month on the cost of slower disbursal of farm credit under the Kisan Credit Card scheme by scheduled commercial banks, while assuring that the banks will comply with uploading of necessary data by December 31st. Launching the Kisan Rin portal and the KCC Gar Gar Abhiyan, a campaign to extend the benefits of KCC to every farmer, Sitharaman said that the disbursal and sanction credit under KCC by both scheduled commercial banks and cooperative sector are completely opposite. While the sanction credit by SCBs is higher than in the cooperative sector, in the case of disposal, the share of SCBs is lower than cooperatives. Rise gross fixed capital formation rate to 32% of GDP for higher growth, says Rangarajan, former RBI governor. There is a need to raise gross fixed capital formation from current level of 29% to 32% of gross domestic product to achieve higher growth, according to Mr. C. Rangarajan, the former governor of Reserve Bank. In his address at the 13th convocation of IFHE here on Saturday, the former chairman of Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister said the first and foremost task was to rise the growth rate. Moving to business standard, India-Canada tensions, multi-billion economic deals at risk if rift widens. The heightened diplomatic tensions between India and Canada could adversely impact economic relations if the rift widens, although experts believe there may not be an immediate impact. The last news for the day, the global debt hit record $307 trillion in Q2 despite rising interest rate. The global debt hit a record $307 trillion in the second quarter of the year, despite rising interest rates, curbing bank credit, with markets such as the United States and Japan driving the rise, the Institute of International Finance said on Tuesday. The Financial Services Trade Group said in a report that global debt in dollar terms had risen by 10 trillion in the first half of 2023 and by 100 trillion over the past decade. It said that the latest increase has lifted the global debt to GDP ratio for a second straight quarter to 336%. Prior to 2023, the debt ratio had been declining for 7 quarters. Slower growth alongside a deceleration in price increases were behind the debt ratio rising, the report said. The most important event everybody is awaiting today is the Fed's policy rate announcement. So we will see more about that as the news comes in and in tomorrow's bulletin. So how was the stock markets yesterday in India? The Sensex and Nifty closed incurring losses. The Sensex 30 share index closed 241.79 points down. That is 0.35% down at 67,596.84. The 50 share Nifty closed 59.05 points down, minus 0.29% at 20,133.30. So that's all for today's news. We'll see you with another episode tomorrow. Wishing you all a wonderful Wednesday. Thanks for watching this video and goodbye.